Hello, my name is James Tobin. I'm a clarinetist here in Charlottesville, Virginia, and we're looking at the District 13 prepared Etude, which hopefully you've already been looking at for the past week. But if you haven't, there's some good that comes out of that too. This Etude is very similar in difficulty to the All-State Prepared piece. And usually when you get the All-State Prepared piece in February, you have about 19 days to learn it, which is about what you have now to learn this Etude for December 8th. So we're going to take this one measure at a time, and then at the end I'll go ahead and play the whole thing for you at the final tempo. It's really, really important that you start at some tempo that you can succeed with, and in the first week, don't even try to go quickly, just repetitions of what's right and concentrating on things being easy. So what I've recommended for the people who study with me is that they take this at eighth note equals 120 or something like it, which is about half the tempo. And just going one measure at a time. In the first measure, the primary focus is to make sure that everything is not correct, but that accent is the feature of the measure. And if you're at home working on this, I would repeat that as many times as you need to feel really comfortable. The more you repeat things correctly, easily in the first week, the sooner you can play at the final tempo or near the final tempo. Measure 2. The crescendo is the most important thing. Measure 3. The accent followed by the staccato. It's very important that your triplet is a triplet and not something like 2 30 seconds followed by a 16th. We often hear this incorrectly. Okay, is what we're really looking for, and with the correct articulation. In measure 4, we have a subito piano, and so I'm making sure that at the end of measure 3, I don't diminuendo so much that I've taken myself near a piano. All right. So that the first note of measure 4 is suddenly softer. All of measure 4 has to take us to fortissimo in measure 5. Again, triplets have to be triplets. Because this is a quick and upbeat piece, it's tempting to play all of the 16th notes as staccato or something near staccato. And I think it's really important that you don't do that. So that you can differentiate and show the judges that you know what a staccato is and that you're going to deliver something that's more legato when it's asked for. Measure 5 looks really complicated, but when you have the 8th note pulse going, this just becomes a series of upbeats. Ba da ba ba. And we've played that a bunch in band, okay? All right? Measure 6. The trickiness here is really not just the notes and the rhythms, but the diminuendo that's in beat 2. The syncopation that we have at the end of measure 6 is exactly the same as the syncopation that we have in measure 5. It's just that the notes in measure 5 are staccato. In measure 6, they're sustained, they're legato. Measure 7 is arguably the easiest measure in the entire piece. Thankfully, something's easy. In measure 8, accents. Accents and a diminuendo. And an open G. Measure 9, arguably the hardest measure in the entire piece. But it's not really that bad when you're playing at 8th note equals 120. This measure especially, you need to focus on it being easy. 240, we see 30-second notes, and usually our first instinct is to scream and run from the room. But again, at this tempo, these are easy. And if you really make sure that the dotted eighth note is 3/16 notes long, fitting 2 30-seconds in is obvious and simple, and it becomes easier. Measure 11. These are not triplets, they're regular 16th notes, although they appear in patterns of 3, and it's just your chromatic scale, which you already learned. And so we come to the last two measures of the piece. And these two measures on an eighth note pulse are really, really easy. I think what's really important is that the ritardando start one beat early, because it's really hard to communicate that things are slowing down while you're just sustaining a note. Of course, your diminuendo does communicate some of the ritardando, but this is a detail that's actually going to make a lot more sense when I play up to speed, which is about where we are. Let's just hear what that is. Ba 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 da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da. Now, 110 beats a minute for a final tempo is really cruising. And I think it's incredibly important that you choose, in the final week of your preparation, you choose a tempo that works for you. You are always going to score more points if you play a tempo where you sound good. Let the judges figure out how to score it, okay? And if that means that you're going to play it at 100, awesome. If that means that you're going to play it at 92, awesome. You'll always end up in trouble if you try to push and go faster than what you're capable of. And you just kind of have to ignore this 110. If you can get to 110, go for it, all right? But your chances of getting to a quick tempo are gonna increase if for the next 7 days you simply play things right and repeat it often, concentrating on how easy it's going to be, all right? Thank you all very much. If you have questions, email me.